a very amazing time. Not just an amazing time, but a very great time for you, because you are going to get very important information that will help you in your career path with your business. How many tech founders do we have here yet? You're starting something in the tech field. Okay, tech bros. Sir, you look like a tech bro to me.
I want to talk to the
The
mic.
way
Can you
your
hear?
shades are
Did
seated
you hear
on your
me?
face. You're not. You're very sure you're not. So, Texas. Okay, today's event. Oh, awesome. The person I want to be like when I grow up. Hi, my name is Chide. Nice to meet you. So today we're going to have an amazing lineup of items on our program for you to look how your career in tech can go, to look at how your career in tech can go, to look at how you can build and innovate with your tech startups and whatever else. We're still expecting a lot of people. Thank you for showing up early. We appreciate that you showed up early and you're here and seated, ready for the day. We are ready for you as well, and we'll start in a bit. We have a red carpet out there. So I would really appreciate it if you can come out for a bit, say hi to me on the red carpet, take pictures. We have a very lovely background. Take pictures so that you can upload it and show your friends that you were here. So come out to the red carpet, take pictures, answer a few questions for me, and let's just have a great time all together. This is about 12. We will start in about 10 minutes. So I want you, if just take a minute or two, come out, take pictures on the red carpet, talk to me on the red carpet, and then we will start. Are you ready to have a swell time today? We have an amazing lineup of panelists. So we're going to also have a panel today to talk about building your career in tech, and then we would get the opportunity to ask questions to understand more. We have very seasoned professionals, people that are seasoned in the tech innovation space. So you can ask questions and get to know all about that here today. I'll say it again, I'm on the red carpet outside. I would really appreciate if you take a minute or two to just come out there, speak with me, take pictures. We have a great lineup for you today. Are you ready to have a swell time today? Amazing. Thank you. Once again, my name is Chide Isaac, and you'll see my face all through today.
Yeah, bro. But if you can see house, man, how far now? I don't see. I live you say Murphy. 1, 2, mic check. Yeah, great. Yeah. So where's she? What's your butter? Wait a second. So please, the atmosphere is quite nice.
Yes.
So you and the person needs to speak up.
Okay.
Right, that's all.
And please speak up because the place is quite noisy. Where's Who let me know if you guys can hear me? Okay. Ah, that's amazing. Hello, good morning. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Good morning.
What's your name, please? This work. Okay. What's your name, please?
My name is Dr. Freak.
Dr. Freak. Okay, what do you do?
Uh, Everything talk. Yeah.
So events and all of that.
Speaking, events, consults, etiquette, branding, everything.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. So today we are having the Walure Tech Connect. How did you get to know about this, and why did you choose to come here?
All right, so I have a member of staff who works out at the same gym as myself, and so I saw him and he told me about the place. I came by and I saw that it was a really beautiful place, and I mean, it's I call it the Fontectainment Hub, so, and ever since, I've been here a couple of times, and it's been good to be here.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much. So I just want you to do one more thing for me before you leave here. I want you to look straight at the camera and say Walure Tech Connect.
Walure Tech Connect.
Thank you very much. Can you give my phone for a second? Yes. I think it's really great that you can hear my voice in the hall, even from out here. So if you're hearing my voice, this is me reminding you that I'm waiting for you on the red carpet. Please take a minute or two of your time. Come out here. It's a very beautiful backdrop we have here. Come out here to take pictures. Come say hi to me, say hi to the live audience we have on camera, and just let us know you are right here at the Tech Connect. Hi, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Chide. What's your name, please?
My name is Ojulwole.
So, in case you don't know, you're watching right from home or wherever you're watching from, or you're listening to me in the hall. I have with me here on the red carpet one of the panelists for today, and he has a lot to tell us. So, sir, please tell us just a quick intro on what we should expect to hear from you today.
Well, of course, we know what's happening in the entire tech environment, especially in Nigeria today, where technology is getting very, very wide attention. We have artificial intelligence coming in, and we have quite a number of disruptions going on right now. And I expect that these are things that we're going to discuss. We'll look at the good, the bad, and the ugly side of it.
Very interesting. I like that you said we'll look at the good, the bad, and the ugly side of it because there's a lot of talk around both all sides of the spectrum. Thank you so much. I just want you to do one last thing for me before you leave. I want you to look straight at the camera and say Walure Tech Connect.
Walure Tech Connect.
Thank you very much. Yes. So there you have it. That's one of our panelists for today. We are set to have an amazing time to talk about tech, the fad, what's real, what you can take advantage of, and what you should be careful with and careful about. Thank you. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming your way. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name, please?
My name is Omotunde Adetula.
Thank you very much. Just like the last time, this is another panelist we have for today. He has a lot of experience in the tech space and innovation. So I want you to prepare your heart to get a lot of learning from him. But quickly, what should we expect to hear from you in general today?
I think basically it's just for us to be able to just dissect the current trends, the innovations, the disruptive ones. I think probably listening to us, you'll be able to understand what disruption means and how innovative those disruptions could mean and what, sometimes everybody talks about innovations, sure you get, but we talk about disruptive innovations and how it affects different sectors, the people, that is the talent, organizations, your immediate family, like even your family, your organization, people around you, and the society at large. So they should just be ready to come listen, and there is a lot for them to learn.
Amazing. One thing you think about when you think about tech is definitely disruption. So when you say disruption, that resonates deeply. If you're in the hall right now, prepare yourself to be educated and also to learn more about all these aspects that he has mentioned. If you're at home and you can still make it down here, you have time. Quickly get that cab, get on the bike if you need to, and get down here because we have a lot ready for you. Thank you so much. I want you to look at the camera and say Walure Tech Connect.
Okay. Walure Tech Connect.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Stay with me. We still have two more panelists who I will be introducing to you here on the red carpet, and we have a lot lined up for you today. Thank you. I have our third panelist with me on the red carpet right now, and he's going to tell us his name and what we should expect from him today. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Solomon Oayedele. I lead product and technology innovation at Alat, Wema Bank. What we should expect today, clearly there's a global exodus. A lot of people are jackpying, right? And there's an imminent pressure on, employers getting the right skill sets, skills and talents, right? So today we're just going to be looking at how people can set themselves apart, how you can sort of get your skill sets immediately item to the point where you can get the right kind of opportunities, right, in a very tight-fitted market, right, pretty much, and share some of the products we've been able to build, some of the talents we've been able to pull in from different areas, and again, see if there are people who are willing to explore opportunities with us too. Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So if you're a business owner watching today or in the hall, you know that we have a lot packed for you. You can see the different people we have on panel are addressing the very key areas. Thank you so much. I want you to do one last thing for me. I want you to look at the camera and say Walure Tech Connect.
Walure Tech Connect.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We are ready to glean as much as possible from our panelists. If you're in the hall right now, it's not too early to start writing down the questions you have. Start thinking about what you want to learn from these people and write down your questions, because after we have the panel session, the floor will be open for questions from the audience. So if you are still at home and you are contemplating, should I get up and go? Should I just chill on my bed and watch live? Yeah, you can watch from your home, but you would get much more if you're right here in the hall. So get out from that place you're seated right now and head down to Walure Hub right now.
I'll be on the phone, calling you tonight. I wanna make you show me, make we know the fight. I don't wanna sleep alone, wanna hold you tight, but I fool my eyes, but I'll be alright. Forever, on my laptop, on my keto, on my sheet on. Say them go feel it, them go run it down, them go hold it. Them go, say them go feel it, them go run it down, them go hold it, them go. I'll be talking to myself, and I don't even notice. She got me feeling like a zombie, and she dey shoot like Chuck Norris.
We pull up like we be Jagaba. Pull up like we be Jagaba.
Fresh out.
I have here with me on the red carpet a very delectable young lady. Hi, tell us your name and what you do here.
Hello everybody, my name is Osarime Mafidon and I am an intern here at Walure Capital.
Tell me what you expect to get out of today's event.
A lot of knowledge actually, because this is really important as at this present time. Yeah, so knowledge.
Knowledge, very key. You know, one thing about someone who is an intern, you are a sponge, soaking in everything. So it's very amazing that you're here today and you're ready to learn. Do you have aspirations of becoming a tech sis in the near future?
Nah, I don't. No.
Why? Tech is the rave.
Yes, you can say that, but for my type of person, I rather not be. Yes, I just rather have the information, but I rather not.
That's awesome. Information is power. Thank you so much. So I want you to do one thing for me before you leave the red carpet. I want you to look at the camera and say Walure Tech Connect.
Walure Tech Connect.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you very much. That's a Gen Z. You don't need anybody to tell you. She added period. Maybe I should add that going forward. But yes, if you're home, I hope you're having a great time with us here at Walure Tech Connect. We are having an amazing time here, as you can tell already. We have panelists who are ready to bring in all the knowledge you need to know about tech, about innovation in this space. Whether you're a business owner in the tech space, whether you are a tech bro or a tech sis, you have a lot to learn from today's Tech Connect. So stay tuned, stay on that dial, don't go anywhere.
We are here with you for a lot of information.
We pull. We pull. We pull. We pull. We pull.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. So I have here with me one of our panelists for today, a powerhouse in her own right. And I'll just let her introduce herself and tell us what we will expect from her today. So please tell us your name, what you do, and what we should expect from you today on the panel.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Deborah Ojangbede. I'm a tech entrepreneur, and I'm excited to be here today, actually. I don't think I've attended a tech event in a while, so I'm happy to be here, and I'm just looking forward to connecting and learning, pretty much.
Amazing. I think one very important thing about people who give out a lot of impact is that desire to keep learning, because we have you here today on panel to teach us, and you say you're here ready to learn, and I love that. Thank you so much. I want you to do one thing for me before you leave the red carpet. I want you to look at the camera and say Walure Tech Connect.
Walure Tech Connect.
Thank you very much. We are set to learn from the very best today. The very best, I assure you. We have the best lineup of people on our panel. We have a hall full of people who are ready to learn. You over there who is ready to learn. And our panelists themselves are ready to learn. Come on, it's a gathering of learners, but we have a lot to learn today at Walure Tech Connect. Stay tuned.
Slicky, believing like I don't care. Leave my life unto nobody there. If not just me, I'll be doing anyhow. Because nobody go there to challenge me. Nobody supernatural. Life versus spirit of the carnival. The personality, no matter at all. Individuality cannot make us stall. I sing for all y'all. Don't let anybody push you to the wall. Na community, na him make us all. Secret society, na him break us all. I don't want to be talking like a preacher at all. I don't want to do like say I sabi pass all. I know say no be everybody sabi play ball. But I rise up patriotic Nigeria call. So make you just do your thing, make I do my thing. Live a let living instead of to be feeling like a king on top of nothing. Stop the bragging on top of the buzzing. Because you know say on a vanity vanishing. My Lord, way on my way on the call on my Lord. My Lord, way no people who to make this money. My Lord, way on my way on the call on my Lord. My Lord, way no people who to make this money. I said, who get here, make them hear. Don't go tell anybody, say you see me for here. If not only me, you know, say I know got the care. Just like everybody, I wish life is fair. Only me, there will be no one here for me to dare. Nobody to follow me, scatter money in the air. No one to lean on in times of despair. Too much of everything, but no one to share it with. It will be only me going to the cinema. No be a friend to the tell once in a while, say if me man. But now I got funke, Ellen, one, Chidera. Cause I'm not the only superman in the area. Make you just do your thing, make I do my thing. Live a let living instead of to be feeling like a king. On top of nothing, stop the riding on top the buzzing. Because you know say on a vanity vanishing.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Walure Tech Connect. Are you ready for today? Are you ready? We have our panelists in the house. We have you, our specially invited guests, who we've asked to be here today, and you have shown up to have an amazing time and to learn together at the Walure Tech Connect. So I want you to do one thing for me before we start. I want you to say Walure Tech Connect. Oh, that was not loud enough. I want you to say like you're excited to be here today. Walure Tech Connect. Amazing. Thank you so much. And we are starting now, and we will start in the best way possible, which is with the national anthem, because we are patriotic Nigerians, right? Right? Amazing. Please, let's be on our feet as the DJ helps us with the soundtrack so that we don't have to, flex our awesome vocal abilities. We just keep it under cap for today. Let the DJ help us. DJ, are you ready? Or you want us to be the amazing choir that we can be? This DJ is tempting me to express my vocal skills. Okay. Let's put our hands together. Thank you very much. I was tempted to ask somebody to come take the pledge, but I have chosen to be nice today. Once again, I want to say a very big welcome to every person in this hall right now. Thank you for honoring our invitation and showing up to the Walure Tech Connect, ready to learn and to meet new people, make new connections, because if there is one thing we all need to take advantage of when we are gathered like this is to take advantage of the new connections that we meet at such gatherings as this. So I know when I came up earlier, I met a Texas over there. I don't know if there are other Texases in the building or tech bros. This is a very good opportunity for you to meet someone, get to know someone new, and find out how you can collaborate. And I'm saying this now, and it's sounding just like one thing I planned to say, but at some point, I will ask you who you have met, what you know about them, and what you think you can do together. So I'm telling you in advance, you have the upper hand because you are here earlier. Other people who will come later will get, when I come to them and ask them, who have you met? They won't have the advantage that you have. So this is a good time for you to smile at the person seated next to you and tell them your name and what you do. Before we go ahead, I want to let you know that we have a very amazing lineup for you today. We have panelists who will dissect and explain a lot of things that might have been, on your hearts. We have a panel session, and after that, a question and answer. So whatever questions you have for the panelists, you can answer that right there. But before we go on, I would want to welcome the General Manager of Walure Capital for the welcome address. He's not in the hall right now, so I would allow for a bit of time for him to come and take that welcome address. And in the meantime, I'm going to introduce our panelists, or rather, to let you know who our panelists are before the time for the panel session, where I will introduce them properly, tell you what they do, read out their amazing profiles to you. First, we have Mr. Olusoji Oluwole. Please, would you mind giving us a wave of the hand so that the people in the hall can know you're here? Thank you very much. We have Deborah Ojengbede. Did I try? Thank you. We have Omotunde Adetula. Did I pronounce that right? Thank you. I tried. We also have Solomon Ayodele. Thank you so much for being here. We are very ready to learn from you, to hear all you have to tell us about innovation in the tech space. Hi, I forget your name. Toyosi. Ngozi. Yes, Ngozi. Hi, what's the name of the person seated beside you? You haven't found out. You should. You should. Texas, please tell me your name. Osaru. Fisayo. Oluwa Fisayomi. Is that it? Yes. What's the name of the person seated next to you, please? Philip. What does Philip do? Oh, nice. He creates websites for SMEs. Awesome. So if you're an SME here, see, someone is looking at you from that angle. He's saying, oh, is that the person I've been looking for? I wanted to build my website all this while. I didn't find the right person. Now Philip is here to answer all your website questions. See, I'm not joking. He's really looking out for who the Philip is. So please ensure you get to know him, get his number. We probably have services to offer him and the people in his network. That's one of the amazing things of showing up in gatherings like this. You get to meet people, network, and networking doesn't end with collecting a number and saving it as Philip Walure Connects. But, getting to know what they do, what their pain points are, what they need help with, where you can come in to assist with that, and, how you can collaborate and do great things together. Before we get the welcome address from the GM of Walure Capital, I will just go right ahead to ask you to introduce yourselves. So I'm not going to come down to you with the mic because we're streaming live and I have to be up here. They have confined me to this space. I don't like it because I like walking along the aisle, getting to know you, coming to you, seeing your beautiful smiley faces. But I'm going to point at you and I plead with you to engage with me, or what's the word to use? I forget the word. To allow me to, get you to do this. So there's a guy smiling at me from the back. Beard gang, somebody wearing red. Yes, you. Don't look at your neighbor. I want you to come up in just 1 minute to tell me your name and what you do. Thank you very much. Yes, you. No, please come forward. Please, for the sake of our live audience. Thank you so much for indulging me. That's the word I've been looking for. Good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Kingsley Auzie.
Hi, Kingsley. What do you do?
I'm a product manager.
Oh, you're a product manager. Do you mind to tell us where you work?
I work with Startup Builder. It's a UK firm.
Oh, amazing, amazing. How do you enjoy product building?
Yeah, I love building product because I like making life easy for everyone. You know, building product that make things very easy for people to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for him? Thank you. I think that's one of the things that I enjoy the most about getting to meet people in tech. You almost always see that genuine desire to make life easier for people in the tech space. People who want to just figure out a way to make things easier, to make the ways of doing things easier, and that's why I enjoy spending time with people in tech. Thank you very much once again. Right now we have the general manager, Walure Capital, in the building, and I will invite him to come up right now to give us the welcome address. Please, sir, let's have it. Please put your hands together for Mr. Obafemi Okubanjo.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Obafemi Okubanjo, as was rightly said. I'm the general manager of Walure Capital. Walure Capital is a technology resource and also a media resource company. These are the two lines of business that we do. We've decided to put up this 2-day event for a purpose. Yesterday I was here and it was more of the business side, the SMEs, the retail businesses. But today we're dealing with the tech. We are a tech company and that's why we made Saturday to be the day for the tech. I have the belief that you're going to enjoy today. We had our panelists yesterday and they did justice to our topic yesterday. They were able to dissect the topic that we had yesterday, and they were able to address so many issues that came up from several businesses. They put up a lot of business cases. So today, we're talking about tech innovation. So everything that you need to know about tech innovation, we have another set of panelists that will do justice to that. These are people that have made their mark within different fields. So they're coming to share their experience with us, what they've been able to do over the years. They're coming here to profile solutions to whatever issues or cases that we may bring up today. So I want to assure you that you will have a very wonderful experience today. So for Walure Capital, why are we putting this up? It's in celebration of our 4 years. We are 4 years. We're 4 years in business today. Oh, sorry, in October, not exactly today. So it's because of that we decided that, okay, let's give back to the society. What can we do to contribute our own quota? Yesterday, we gave out some things to businesses that came around. And today again, we're still going to continue the tradition. We want to give back to the society. So it's 4 years of Walure Capital. We are happy to have today's program, and we are happy to have you here. It's a wonderful pleasure. So I want to thank every one of you that have made it here today. We are still expecting more people. In a couple of minutes or less than, let me say 30 minutes, you will see the hall. So thank you very much for being here. Once again, it's a pleasure hosting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we please give him another round of applause? Thank you so much, Mr. Okubanjo. Thank you for gathering us here like this. Yesterday was an amazing event, like he said. A lot of goodies were given out to the businesses that were here, you know, for the iPOS by Smartware. People who would use iPOS by Smartware consistently for 1 month will get their businesses up on the Walure billboards for free. People who would use it consistently for 6 months for their business will get 100,000 naira. And I think that's amazing. Can we put our hands together for Walure Capital? So in continuing in that celebration today, we are going right into the panel session. Today's panel session is titled Disruptive Innovation and Technology, Impact on Talent, Product, and Social Media. I will go right ahead and call up the panelists. As I call them up, please put your hands together for them all the way till they get here and are seated on the chair. Do you agree to do that with me? Thank you. First on my list is Mr. Olusoji Oluwole. He's the National President of the Association of Senior Staff of Banks, Insurance, and Financial Institutions, ASBIFI, Nigeria. He's a seasoned professional with a strong banking background. He played a pivotal role in Sterling Bank's banking operations and the introduction of technologies like ATMs and electronic funds transfer systems. He holds a postgraduate diploma in business administration and actively serves on the boards of Antioch International School and the Place of Liberty School, a free school for special needs children. Please put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Olusoji Oluwole. Thank you so much for joining us here today, sir. Next, we have Mr. Solomon Ayodele. Solomon Ayodele is the head of product and tech innovation at Alat, Africa's first digital bank. He's a certified systems and design thinker, expert in customer-centric tech products, and a leader in Africa's largest ideathon with 500K participants and $200,000 in grants. Aside his work with Stanbic IBTC, Solomon is a change leader in an ed-tech company. He's a TEDx speaker, an award recipient. He serves on 3 boards, and he's the founder of Boys Quarters Africa, Africa's first boy-child transformation movement. With over a decade of experience, his mission is to transform Africa's future with technology. Put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Solomon Ayodele. Thank you so much for joining us today. Next, let's welcome Ms. Deborah Ojengbede, the CEO of AFEN Blockchain Group. She combines over 5 years of banking experience with a diverse background in strategy and innovation, business development, and women banking to drive blockchain adoption in Africa through innovation, Web3 protocols, aiming to make blockchain accessible to all. Please put your hands together as we welcome Deborah Ojengbede. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an amazing lineup, don't we? Last but definitely not least on this panel, we have Mr. Omotunde Adetula. Since 2005, he has amassed extensive hands-on experience designing, developing, and deploying end-tier-based applications in telecoms, travel and hospitality, government, education, logistics, finance, and health sectors. Experienced in developing requirements, specifications, technical documentation, architectural systems research, business rule extraction, software enhancement and support. He is certified in ITIL Foundation Certificate in IT, Service Management, and Tester Foundations Level C, TFL. Please put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Omotunde Adetula. Thank you so much for joining us today. As we go right into the panel discussion, I want everybody in the audience to begin to think about what you want to ask these panelists, what you think that they will be able to help you in your tech career, your business, in whatever way, so that we can make the best use of their time today. You're excited to have them today, aren't you? Amazing. Let's get right into it. Once again, welcome, and thank you for joining me up here. I have a list of questions here for you, but before we go into the questions I have here, I want you to, in a brief response, tell me what you think is most important for tech bros, tech sisters, people in tech in Nigeria today, what they should be about as topmost in their minds for tech bros, tech sisters in the house today.
Okay, thank you very much. So what I would advise is that, or what I would say is that the tech ecosystem is ever evolving, and it's important that we stay ahead of the curve as well. So in terms of being up to date on trends and just consistently innovating and growing.
Amazing. So to be up to date on trends, what is it that is happening in the ecosystem? Ensure you're on that trend. Thank you very much. Please, let's.
Thank you very much. For me, I think what is very, very important, especially at this time, is to be able to build and develop sustainable programs that stand any kind of test. Because the thing about technology is that there is that beautiful side of it that provides some level of convenience. And there is that bad side of it that if you are not careful, could lead to a lot of disastrous outcomes.
So programs that are sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for having me. I would say from my perspective, I don't believe technology is the future. I believe the human mind is the future. So whilst you're trying to write a line of codes and trying to build the fantastic products, we should not undermine the power of our natural intelligence while we're trying to shout about artificial intelligence and the great things it's going to do. Our mind is the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. That's a very interesting angle to take it from. Yeah, feel free to put your hands together for that very interesting take on it.
So, for me, I think it's just don't be scared to fail.
Right.
Just just take the chance, put in the learning, put in the time, put in the dedication, put in the commitment. What I see a lot of times is people that come in tech, we are always worried about the next technology we want to learn, the next new thing we want to be a part of, the next programming language. You know, look, in tech, it goes. There's always something new every 3 months, every 6 months, every year. So what I want to say is there comes a time whereby that knowledge that you have acquired, put it to something, try something, build something. Look, until you start building, and then you just never enjoy. It's one thing to enjoy learning, then it's another thing to experience building. Because when you start building, that's where the real magic comes from.
Thank you so much. Don't be afraid to fail. Build. Thank you so much. And on that point, my first question is going to go to you. So the first question I have here is, from your experience, how would you describe disruptive innovation and its impact in the Nigerian market? Because we talk about disruption. How will you describe disruptive innovation here in the Nigerian market?
Okay, so the way I'll put it is this. If we look at the Nigerian space, all over the world, I believe it's the same everywhere. Disruption, innovations will most probably not come from the bigger companies. They are too big, so they never want to fail.
Right.
So what happens a lot of the times also, you can also blame the bigger ones. Why? Because you have so many framework that is built to ensure that what we are doing right now keeps it's more about efficiently and effectively oiling what currently exists. The attention that is paid to innovation, though they will say they do, is always quite minimal. Now, and that's where the opportunity comes from. The smaller companies, that small company of 5, 10 persons or even less, they are nimble. They have a great idea. Look, it might not even be, let me not say great. They have an idea, they can run to the market with it. They don't need bureaucratic frameworks that has to, I remember while I was in the bank, you have an idea. It's a great idea. Everybody knows it's a great idea. But you can't even scale with it. You know why? Not because people don't understand that this is a great idea, but it is now your job, the guy that has the idea, to convince every singular stakeholder that this will work. Now imagine, so it means that apart from you having a great idea,
um, you now have to convince almost every single person who is probably not of like minds with you, that is probably not even seeing the beauty of what you are saying. But you can. But if you are just five, two, three guys, one guy is a coder, another guy is a business guy, another guy is a products guy. Before you know what is happening, probably in a month or two, you take it out. So what I'm saying is, so the disruption, the innovation, and that is why the tech space or the fintech space or the tech space in Nigeria works. Because we have a lot of startups that are coming out, we have a lot of smaller companies that are coming out, and after coming out with a great solution, then the big guys now jump on it.
Yes.
You get what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm saying, that will always continue. So when you see the bigger companies, always remember that most times the next big thing isn't going to come from the bigger ones. The next big thing is coming from you, it's coming from the smaller companies, it's going to come from you and your friends. Why? Because most times companies, Steve Jobs says something. He says Apple is probably the biggest, while he was alive, is probably the biggest startup in the world. Because the way they were structured was a startup mentality. Why? Because he understood the essence of innovation, the essence of disruption. And that's why you could see a company like Apple have a lot of innovations. Why? Because they structured themselves in a startup mode, in a nimble manner for them to be able to achieve that, which is what a lot of us in Nigeria do. So the smaller companies, that is where the future is. So that coder that is there, you and a set of your friends, that is where the future is. And I believe that the more we have sessions like this, events like this, to make the younger ones not to be scared to try, then we will have a lot more disruptions, a lot more innovations. Even though we've tried, but we could still do much more better than what we've done so far.
Thank you so much. So disruption, innovation is in the hands of the seemingly little guy.
Yes.
Amazing. So you and I here in the house today, because I can become a Texas tomorrow, we are the ones who will drive innovation in the tech space in Nigeria. Thank you so much. And in line with that question, my next question goes to you, Deborah, because, he has talked a lot about startups and, startups being the people who drive innovation mostly in this space. So for you who has started something, you know how that feels. What do you think has been the greatest challenge to companies innovating their way to growth in not just Nigeria, but Africa?
Is the regulatory climate could be a little bit of challenge, as well as resources. And resources might not even necessarily mean funding. I mean, funding is a big topic, but again, the required skill set, right? So you have talents, but can you also even afford, the required skill set that you need on that job or that project? So I think it's a, bunch of a couple of things, but I think that the ecosystem, as I said earlier, is just ever evolving, and we're beginning to see a lot more opportunities to work together, partner, and grow.
Thank you so much. That was a very helpful response. And I think it's very interesting that you talked about the talent pool we have here, because if there's one thing we export here, it's talent. It's talent, and we have the best people here. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? Because it's not just her saying it, it's generally agreed. And on that note, my next question goes to you, Solomon. So you, in the space you are, you've had to employ people over and over again. And while we say we have very great talent here, in your opinion, do you see a gap in that tech talent market? And if yes, how can we overcome this challenge here in Nigeria? Because yes, it's great, but do you think there is still that gap?
Thank you for the very fantastic question. Yeah, so interestingly, because I work for a 77-year-old bank that eventually built the first fully digital bank. I'd done about 5, 6, 7 years with Standard Bank Group um, before moving to Wema Bank, where I then stepped into a role where I needed to hire people, right? I lead a team of about 24, in code Gen Zs, and about 10 or 11 of them are software engineers. I need to manage their emotions and, try to properly manage them, to be able to do the work well. Fantastic and brilliant guys. But when it comes to discussions around talent, I would usually use the story. So imagine a pig and a chicken, right, walking through the road, and they see an empty building, and both of them says, guys, can we set up a restaurant in this place? And the pig says, oh, great idea. The chicken says, great idea. And the chicken says, the name of the restaurant will be called Ham and Egg, meaning that what we're going to sell in that restaurant is the leg of a pig and the egg of a chicken. Meaning that the pig is committing to throw his leg away. However, the only thing the chicken wants to commit is the egg. I had a different perspective about talent when I was just, an entry-level guy. I was still rising. I'm still rising, right? Before I started hiring people, I then realized that the truth is organizations are looking for entrepreneurs who can also come add the kind of value owners add. So forget the bullshit that you cannot build your dreams working for somebody, all right? The truth is we then find people who opt into a company waiting for the next ticket to opt out. So the reason why some organizations are not as committed as they should be, I know there are some ridiculous organizations, right? Is because you would find employees who are not as committed as they should be. So you find a software developer, a front-end guy, who is working on your projects, and whilst working on your project, is working on 7 other projects and is not able to deliver what he's supposed to deliver at the right time. Do you understand? So what it does for me is that the moment you're working for me as a front-end guy, I'm on LinkedIn searching for someone else because I can eat you off at any moment because I know you're not committed to me. I'm not saying you should drop your life and drop your identity for any organization. What I'm saying is we need to get to a phase where we have realized that there's a global exodus. If you don't see yourself as a global talent at this phase, then you're making a mistake, right? So the point is, wherever you're working, you need to be able to commit your mind and heart to it, right? I think my final thought is, and I may not directly answer your question because I'm very careful. There are a lot of tech bros here who work, 7 or 5 companies together. People must realize that the currency of the future is not exactly your stack. It's about loyalty. It's about integrity. In the future, when they see your resume, they won't say, oh, you built 7 products. They would say, what is that company you worked with? And you saw through a product, and the product is live, and the product scaled. Those are the kind of questions they would ask. So the gap I see is a vision gap from both employers and employee. Employers being able to, sell a compelling vision, remunerate them to a certain level, and employees being able to buy the vision and key into it within a certain time frame. I mean, I may not be in Wema Bank in the next 3 or 4 months, but I've built some products in the bank today that if I leave tomorrow, in fact, a lot of people know me on LinkedIn because of Wema Bank, right? Because of the things I've done and the products I've built. Thank you.
I think that's a very, very succinct answer because at the end of the day, the vision has to be sold, the vision has to be bought so that both parties can work well. That's the perfect balance we aim for. Thank you so much for that amazing answer to the question. The next question I have is going to you, sir, because you've been in this space for a long time. My question is this: how can, venture capital funds assist or help with tech startups in this space? How have they helped so far, and how can people who have tech businesses that they are starting take advantage of this?
Interestingly, I was with a friend of mine yesterday, and when you look at venture capitalists, I think they're the biggest risk takers when it comes to this. And why is that so? You are asking someone to commit millions, and most times hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, into a product being developed by an individual who has probably not handled more than 1 million naira at any point in time. So he's coming to convince, and you have to take that leap. So the venture capitalist is going in either to make money or to lose money, to help somebody to make a name or end up having been destroyed. So for venture capitalists, I do not think we have much of them in this country today. Yeah, they're mostly out of the country who see that future, and they've probably gained a lot and probably bringing out of what they have gained into the system. But it is very, very important that here in our country today, we should begin to have people. Now, venture capitalists may not be the individuals in Nigeria today. So they're probably going to be the big companies that were referred to earlier on that are not ready to take the kind of risk that younger developers are going to take, but will be ready to commit the fund to it, see it develop, then probably latch onto it, and that is where their own gain comes in. I remember a couple of years ago, we had an issue with dealing with failures, with dealing with challenges of customers and everything. And my MD called me and said, look, I'm committing this amount of money to you every year to be able to make a decision to ensure that our integrity is not at stake. In other words, the company had already set that amount of money aside as a loss to the company, but in ensuring that integrity was kept. So it's almost like a venture capitalist taking that risk in somebody. And he said, whatever it is, just go ahead and do it. And why? He said, if I could quantify the value of lost integrity, and it is less than the amount is committing, then he will withdraw that money. And it made a lot of sense to me. So it's just the same thing with venture capitalists, which, like I said earlier on, will probably be the big companies today, and then eventually turn out to be the individual investors. Yeah, we have one or two of them that we see them on TV, people coming to present all sorts of things. But what they are committing is quite limited. And I think eventually we'll grow to that point. Now, away from the venture capitalists, there is a lot of responsibility on the part of the developer as well. Because the developer has to be able to provide commitment, provide integrity, and be able to prove that what is being developed is something that will attract people now, and future developments will also attract them. We cannot deny the fact that, and I stand to be corrected by the tech gurus here, that there are also people who, in the name of wanting to get the money out of venture capitalists, also present themselves as developers. But they already know the end of that game. They know it's not going to go anywhere. And sadly, a lot of venture capitalists will begin to look at the serious developers just the way they have seen the people who have come to them and who have burned their fingers in like manner.
I think I really like how you answered the question on both ends, because one thing I've heard said a lot of times is people don't invest in companies, they invest in people. So it's very important as you think about going out to look for money for your startup or your ideas, to evaluate the kind of person you're putting forward. People don't invest in the company, they invest in people. Thank you so much for that very robust answer, sir. My next question, I would like for both Deborah and Solomon to answer that question. So for startup, I want you to say the importance of research and development for innovation when it comes to tech startups, the importance of research and development, because in general, Nigeria is one part of the world where research is not such a big deal, but in the tech space, and especially for innovation development.
Going first?
Yes.
All right. I believe that research and development is very key to growth of any business, any economy. And I mean, it goes a long way when organizations invest in research and development. I said earlier, I'm going to say it again, that it's an ever-evolving world. Needs are evolving, your consumer needs are evolving, your organizational needs are evolving. And especially for businesses that even deal with people, right? How are you studying your consumer behavior, for instance? There's a lot of research that has to go into growing your business. I mean, across several touch points, even in terms of, the kind of partnerships that you need to scale, the kind of skill set that you need to onboard to scale as well. So I think research and development is very essential to growth. It's something that we really need to pay attention to. For a manufacturer, for instance, it's one thing to produce, it's one thing to create, it's another thing to sell it, right? And so it's just important that we're always aware of growing trends as well within the industry. At the end of the day, we're limited by what we know, not even what we don't know. So the more we know, the better.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Please, sir.
Okay, so I mean, I personally believe that, and I'm going to take it from 2 or 3 perspectives, from the regulator's perspective, because again, I work in an industry where I see people who are quick to say, oh, you people in the bank, you're not innovating. All these fintech boys are innovating. And I don't smile and laugh, because I have about 4 products sitting with CBN today that has been sitting with them for about 6 months. And it's a case of us fighting and pushing and educating and all of that. So I believe that regulations would chase after innovation. And some of these things will not happen until there is proper understanding of what the market is saying, what the emerging market looks like. Interestingly, my role in the bank sort of helps me look after R&D too. And I'm going to share with you a practical example. In the wake of the cash crunch, I'd charged my guys to say that there's a fundamental problem. The reason why, and I'm sorry to mention names, the reason why MoneyPoint and OPay and Co can consummate instant transactions, so you send money from MoneyPoint, you get instant value, is because these guys are directly plugged to bank. It is nothing innovative. The reason why you send money from Wema Bank to Stanbic, and sometimes it takes you 3 days, is because there's a demon in between called NIBS that the banks collectively agreed to say, this is our demon. Come and stand in between us, right? And I told someone, I said, a time will come, banks will begin to push back to say, this thing you guys are doing is not going to work for us. So I'm sure a lot of you have read in the news that Fidelity Bank, Keystone, and the likes, they started shutting down MoneyPoint, and it's going to happen. So my team and I, we went to the street of Lagos, interviewed about 2,000 people. We need to find out the impact of instant value, instant transaction, instant reconciliation on businesses and all of that. We came up with a solution leveraging on blockchain technology, right? Create a new device, tap and go, carry out offline transaction without internet and all of that. My very first day presenting to CBN, it was almost like I was talking to a grandmother who is like 97-year-old. And I'm telling you the truth. So people are quick to shout, to say, oh, banks, you guys are not innovating, see your fintech boys. And I smile, right? So we cannot undermine the power of research and development from first regulators. And you see, the reality is, for a regulator who is not sound enough with the understanding of emerging markets, they would then begin to witch hunt a MoneyPoint and Co for the work they're doing. But in the real case, they are only solving a problem that is evident, right? That's one. Number two, for organizations, you cannot
undermine the power of research and development. So what is the new trend? I told my guys recently, I said, the future of core banking is blockchain technology. I said, go and fight my father in the grave. Go and fight my mother in heaven, right? The reality is this thing must happen. What then happens is that a 17-year-old boy in Yaba, Fadei, thinks about the same thing and goes to the market with it without regulators. After the guy has gone to the market and raised 5 million USD, banks will then say, oh, that's true, you said something like this 5 years ago, can we keep running and building the same thing? Do you understand? So I think for organizations, it is important for them to, number one, invest in R&D. So investment is not just about throwing money behind it, throwing the leadership support behind it, right? Being able to say that when our guys go to the field to find out, to research, they should be able to come back with something we can action on. And I tell you for free, a lot of organizations are doing this. For example, this year I've been to the UK. A lot of people will not believe. So when you talk about Wema Bank, they will say it's a bank for the old. This year I've been to the UK, I've been to Switzerland, I'll be in Singapore in November, right? Pretty much on R&D to just find out what is happening in this market. In March, I'm going to be in India to find out how these guys manage cash crunch in their days. So these are the things banks should invest in. And when I'm back, I come back with a yellow paper to say, guys, this is what I'm back with. What are the immediate actions we can take? What are the long-term plans and all of that? I think that would be my thoughts on R&D.
Very interesting. Did you think Wema Bank was doing that much R&D? See, panels like this, gatherings like this are the places where you open your mind to things you never even knew about before. So thank you so much for that in-depth answer that you gave to the question. My next question goes straight to you, and so you've spent a lot of time innovating and innovating. In your own opinion, what are some of the upcoming innovations that we should look out for in the tech space, especially for the people in the house today, the people who would actually do the coding, the developing? What should they look out for in terms of disruptions within this space?
Okay, I think for me, I think the next wave probably is already at us. All it just needs is fine-tuning, polishing, and it's going to take over. Yeah, things like blockchain that he has mentioned, artificial intelligence. It will, probably in the very few years from now, look, it's going through different dimensions, polishing and everything. Then it gets to the level that now it now becomes, how will I call it, extremely usable. Then you talk about augmented reality. But now, for me, personally, maybe that's a space, because I believe that that is really, really, really big for me, because it's going to change so much about things that we'll see. Artificial intelligence, perfect, but augmented reality will bring life, you know, it will bring that personal experience into what we do digitally. So those are the key things that I think that the next thing. Now, the real question now is, how are you, so one thing is for all of these technologies, and which for me is the real big part of innovation for me, is these new trends. It's not about the new trends. It's about problems, challenges that you can solve with these new trends. So as you are thinking, oh, blockchain is the big next thing, I want to learn blockchain. Everybody's on YouTube, everybody's learning something. What problems can you apply this trend to? Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. Now it's now so much of a buzzword that if you are not hitting on those buzzwords, it seems like you're not in thing. But the real thing is, what are the problems that you want to use this to solve? Oh, is it because you just want to use the latest buzzword, or you've gone deep down to understand what this thing truly entails? Because a lot of times what happens is, we know things on the periphery. When you know things like on the surface, you can't solve problems with it. What you have just done is just know the surface of it. For the real innovators, for the real disruptors, they understand deep down, because what they are looking for is, where are the problems, where are the challenges, and how can I apply this to which sectors, how do I dimension this? how do I look at this particular sector and I say, oh, what new target space can I create out of this and use this new technology trend to solve their problem? What is that challenge that they're currently going through that I can look at and I'm able to think and I say, okay, I can look at this space. You see, and sometimes it doesn't have to be something big. I remember this virtual account that came out. You know, a lot of people didn't really understand the massiveness of the virtual account. And I remember vividly that when I joined Polaris Bank newly then, the guys that pushed it out, they came with it. And you will look at it and like, oh, how come I never thought about this? Because for me, the technology behind it is not, how will I say, it's nothing big. For you that you are in tech, you know, look, for every engineer, it's something that an intermediate guy can get done. But the real innovation is because you obviously understood that these guys were looking at the problem and they said, look, we can solve this problem. And how can we solve it? So at times it's about that deep thinking. That's why you see people go to learn about critical thinking. Because that is where you are able to look at the problem space and now start thinking solution. So what I'm trying to say now is, yes, the trends of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, blockchain, all of these things, the real thing in disruption and innovation is all of these big trends. How can I apply it to the health sector? Which part of the health sector that can I look at and be able to channel this technology to solve their problem? What challenges are we going through probably for the SMEs? How can I channel these to solve? So those are the real key things, and those are the trends that are probably the boss things. And afterwards, whoever is now able to solve those problems, now they are not going to be the next big boys.
Amazing. I think it's really beautiful how you've answered the question. Rather than focusing on the trend to jump on, focus on real impact, real innovation, what you can do with
the trend.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was very helpful. Now, my next question goes to Mr. Olusoji. When it comes to training people in tech, we have quite a number of tech training institutions coming up every day. In your opinion, and with the people you've interacted with in the space, young people joining the tech space every day, what do you think the trainers, the educational institutions can focus a bit more on in training people to come into tech?
Now that's a tricky one. And why I say it's a tricky one is that, you know, when you're talking of technology and when you're talking of innovation, it is something of the mind. You think it, you do it. So saying, I think outside the basic training that is required to understand, oh, this is how to code and all the rest of it, I think the best trainers are the developers themselves. And I think the best training school any developer will have is where they converge together and they share ideas. Now, why I say this? If you go to a lot of tech training schools, whether we like it or not, you will always find that the promoters have a little bit of bias. Okay, let's look at the discussion today. There was a point in time that it was already tending more towards the financial sector until he changed the narrative now and started talking about other things. And technology is much larger than that. So going to tech training institutions, you need to be sure that whatever it is that you are going to get out of there is something that is going to give you a broader understanding and perspective of what you want to do, except a situation where you are clear that you are going in a certain direction. Otherwise, like I said, the best trainer is still yourself and probably the community that you find yourself.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Sorry, I'd like to say this because interface with a lot of the trainers, academies, and all. And sincerely, they need to do more. Sincerely. I can say this authoritatively is, I don't think I've interviewed people that have gone through a lot of these academies and you can say these guys are ready. They need to change their curriculum. Look, they need to do extremely more. And why I say this is, you know, education, training, it cannot be about the money. You must truly want to impact people. And it is when these academies, these training institutes are being set up because truly you want to educate people, that there will always be a difference in the output that you have. Because a lot of times, sincerely, a lot of these persons, you build people that after, yes, so the first question we ask ourselves is, can you train in 6 months and be ready to get a job? So let's ask ourselves questions. Can you train somebody in tech for 6 months and the person will be ready to get a job? But this is what we sell. It makes it look like, oh, somebody comes and learns and trains for 6 months, then it's going to be ready. So my point is, so they need to do more. Then how is the curriculum, that's the curriculum, how is this structured? Is this structured for you to go and learn Node.js? No, look, nobody teaches a lot of these guys. Like when you come to work with me, for example, I tell you, I say, for me, anybody can learn coding. Look, if you're an average student, anybody can learn any programming language. For me, it's not a big deal because you know 10 programming languages. It's not going to impress me. That's me. What impresses me is this. How do you think? Oh, when there was a problem, there was a challenge, Oga, how can you think a solution for it? I'll pick that guy that knows 1 programming language and can think than a guy that knows 10 programming languages. And and that is a critical part. Look, our job when it comes to tech, we are engineers. We solve problems. But a lot of times people think it's not academic because you've gone to school, so a lot of these training institutes, they forget the engineering part, which for me is the most important part of how you survive in the industry. So what happens a lot of time is they've taught somebody Node.js, they've taught somebody Angular, they've taught somebody .NET, but how does that guy now take all of this knowledge and start engineering with it? And I think that's the critical part that a lot of time is missed. So maybe let me just put it out there. For the training schools, they just need to do more.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So beyond teaching the academic part, it boils down to teaching them critical thinking.
Engineering. How do you solve problems? And that part is always, most times, missing.
Very interesting. So for our tech guys in the house, our engineers in the house, you can build that in yourself. We all are able to do critical thinking. Build it within yourself. You know, ask yourself the important questions and grow that side of you. Thank you so much for that answer. Now, I hope that by now you're already putting your questions together because I have just one more round of questions and then we'll take questions from the audience. Now, for the final question, I'm not going to ask you a specific question. I want you to say we started off by saying what you think is the biggest thing on your mind for, developers in the house. In conclusion, now I want you to say one thing that you want them to take out of today. If they forget anything else, that they should remember and it should drive how they approach their work. I would like for each person to give me a response to that. Then we can take questions from the audience.
All right, thank you. So I'll say there are 3 lenses, and depending on the different categories you may fall in, maybe as a tech bro, you run a tech academy, whatever it is, you lead a tech company and whatnot. There are 3 lenses to innovation, right? The first one is desirability. meaning that is this problem a problem? The truth is a problem is not a problem until you challenge your assumptions. So you see a crowd in a branch today, a Wema Bank branch, and the branch manager says, there's a problem here, we need to build more branches on Oba Ogunisi Road. That is not the problem. The problem could be that we have an irresponsible teller who is on Instagram checking videos and not attending to customers, right? So the first lens of innovation is desirability. Do customers want this? Your product is not because you want to innovate. Your product is because there's a problem you're trying to solve, right? And is this problem big enough for customers to pay for it? There are some things that are not problems. They are just an array of your emotions popping up here and there, right? The second lens of innovation is called viability, meaning that the problem you want to solve, can customers pay for it, right? So for example, you want to stop corruption in Nigeria. What is the percentage of people benefiting from corruption? You want us to have 24-hour power supply. Who are the people benefiting from the moribund instability with electrical power supply? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the second phase. The third phase is visibility, meaning that can we use technology to solve this problem? And I call my developers, I call them solutions provider. Writing the line of code is the last thing in the value chain. That's the truth. If you start with number one, desirability, are there customers who want this problem? Have you found out that this problem is a real problem? Today, I'm building a solution called Rest Well. When people die today, one of the biggest problems people face is that their family members go through more problems trying to bury the person than the problem they went through while the person was alive, right? And I've realized I went through that problem. A lot of people go through that problem. Are people going to pay for it? By the time I went live 2 months ago, you know, we had about 700 paying customers without publicity, organically, word of mouth, family to family, right? And the third problem is, the third lens is visibility. Can technology solve this problem? On the final note, I would say tech is only an enabling platform. Tech is not the solution, right? So when we talk about tech, this is why when people come to pitch their ideas to me to say, oh, I'm building piggy vest for farmers, I'm building rice vest for civil servants, I'm building flutter wave for, you know, people living with disability. I tell you, can you think about the other ways you can solve problems in health, climate change, entertainment? There's a booming creative economy today, right, that we can solve those problems. All our attention is on fintech today. Banks, fintechs. I hope you know that NIPS is now a player too in the market. So NIPS is now an operator and, you know, a player in the market. So let's look at ways we can use technology as a way of just solving the problem and just look for problems to solve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that very interesting final words. Yes.
I'm going. So.
Did you hear what she said? Okay, she said she's going to speak now, so she doesn't. So she's not the last person to speak. Avoiding the pressure.
Thank you very much for this conversation. You know, when you asked me what I'd expect, I mentioned that. I mean, most importantly.
Sorry, can you hear her?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You pass the mic. Let's use it.
Is it better? Okay. So I was speaking to her when I got in about what I expect, and one major thing that I was looking forward to is to learning, and I'm really happy to be on this panel. Sort of learned a lot from the conversation so far. What I would say, just to take a cue from him, is that I mean, also speaking to both innovators and talents in this space. We're seeing a shift in how things are done. And I mean, there's also this fear in the tech ecosystem where we believe that the world is getting automated. We're in a world where AI is taking over, where, you know, we're talking about smart contracts, blockchain technology. And so while people, I mean, that is already even impacting the workforce. Things are not done the way they used to be. Organizations have, you know, better expectations of the talents that they onboard into their ecosystem. So what I would say is that and also speaking from experience, it's keep, building, uh, invest in self-development. It's very key. I mean, we're in a world where this is probably the last we would see real life stuff, right? I was at an event, GITEX, and there was this exhibition area that was just dedicated to smart cities where everything was fully automated. And so the fact that we're able to invest in personal development will go a long way in building sustainable careers within this industry, and also building sustainable products that solve actual problems, that solve real problems. So I would also encourage that we network. It's very important. The ecosystem gets bigger when we come together to do great stuff. That way we are able to attract better investments into the ecosystem. There's a lot of bad press around investments as it relates to African startups right now. So investors are looking for more, innovators are looking for more, and I'll just say in final words that just keep growing, keep building, and yeah, the sky is not just your limit, but your starting point.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful. On her note about networking, I want to remind you to get to know the person seated beside you. You never know, they probably have something they're working on that they've been stuck on, and you're the solution they've been looking for. So please don't hesitate when we take a short break. Don't hesitate to get to know the person beside you, find out what they do, where they need help in their products or whatever else. Take advantage of that.
Right. In the last 3 years, two major things happened in Nigeria, which for me also boosted. First was the lockdown in 2020, COVID. And the second was earlier this year during the cash crunch. Those two things threw up a lot of problems. And those who saw those problems, yeah, they were immediate problems, but there were also problems that existed, but people didn't realize existed. But they were escalated at that time. And those who were smart in technology immediately latched onto it, and they were able to develop solutions, come up with ideas, and bring things that were quite innovative to the general public. Now, why have I referred to these two things? Do we need to wait for crisis for things to change? No. Every day when we walk on the street, there are problems that occur. He spoke about something now, or a couple of things. He's spoken about health. You spoke about health. You spoke about various things. About 2 months ago, I went to the US. Coming back to Nigeria was one of the most frustrating things for me. And I began to wonder that, look, I went into the US, I went through the immigration, I spent barely 3 minutes, and I was out, picked my bag, and I walked out. I come back into my own country, and I had to go through about 4 immigration points in my country, carrying my own passport, a valid passport. And immediately I came in and I thought, why do I have to go through this? Why can't I just step in, scan my passport, do some kind of biometric, and walk out and go? Because I don't know, for those who go through the international airport regularly, foreigners get past faster than you. And interestingly, a couple of weeks ago, the Minister of the Interior came out and said, after he had gone through the passport issue and all the rest of it, and he said, my next port of call are the airports to be able to change those things. And that is just one little problem. There are problems that are bound. The landscape is so wide. It is for us to be able to identify those problems and make sure, just like he said, that that problem is not an individual, but it is a problem that exists, or even a situation that you can create some kind of improvement upon and sell to people. and they will they will grab it quite easily, because I would like to start and end my day without stepping away from a sport. So if I step away from that sport, it's just probably to exercise my limbs or to just see what's going on outside, which means that there are a lot of things. So for me, see it, think it, do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. There's opportunity to provide solutions in everywhere you look around us. Everywhere you look around us. So see it, think it, do it. Thank you very much. Please let's have our final panelist give us his.
So I've been trying to think. Okay, so I think he has talked about. Each person has talked about an angle, which I agree with, and I can. So I'm trying to think the best angle that I could look at for the final word. Maybe to just say from this perspective, to say that the pool isn't the pool we have in engineering after COVID isn't massive like people make us believe. Or you see, people outside tech, everybody wants to be a tech bro. We have so much tech bros everywhere, or people that wants to be in technology. But people that are employable, people that truly I can comfortably pay you for your skill set. That pool it's small. Let me use that word. So and this goes out to the guys in the tech space. A lot of us, we are not spending time to learn. A lot of us are not spending time to understand concepts. A lot of us are not spending time to have deep insights into these things. What we do a lot of time is we just follow trends. Oh, today is Angular. I don't see myself as a fundamental front-end engineer. I that I'm interviewing you, I do not see myself as a front-end engineer. But you that you call yourself a front-end engineer, it seems like I know more about front-end than you do. Then if I feel I know more about front-end than you do, then you should not. Because what I'm saying is, while everybody wants to be disruptive, we want to be innovative. How sound your knowledge base is critical to you being able to churn out good products that will stand the test of time. And now it's as if, tech space is where the money is, so everybody seems to be jumping there. A lot of people don't want to give in the commitment. A lot of people, like you were saying, look, your health is important. Let me explain something. I was trying to tell you something while we were upstairs. And look, I work with a lot of young talents. Do you know the number of young talents that I've worked with recently in the last 1 year, 2 years, that they go to the hospital very often these days? They have hypertension. You are wondering what is going on. You know what? A lot of people are taking more than they can chew. You are doing 3-4 jobs. Oh, you are working for Canada, remote. You are still doing Nigeria, 8 to 5. You have another one in the UK. At the end of the day, it comes back to your body. It takes a toll on you. Then someday, you slump. Someday, you go to the hospital and you say, I've not been able to sleep for the past 2 days. You get to the hospital, the doctor tells you, Omo, you won't live here for the next 1 week. So what I'm just trying to say is, you see, why we are trying to disrupt, why we are trying to do all of these things, your health is also of utmost importance. Why we chase the money, why we chase the knowledge, please, your sanity, your health. You know what? If you fall sick today and you have a terminal disease, I bet you see all of the money that you have acquired, you will still go to use it. And so what I'm just saying to you, the final word that I will give to you, because I won't lie to you, the number of young engineers that I see fall ill And when I mean fall ill, it's too much. And you're asking, even me that I'm older than you, you understand what I'm trying to say? Because what has happened is a lot of us are taking more. We don't sleep. We don't pay attention to how to minimize all of these things. Yes, in all of these things, we want the best. We want to disrupt. Please pay attention to your health so that we have a better industry and the best of talents available. We will still have you with us, and we won't have a situation whereby we have people leaving us. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Can we put our hands together for the panel? Has that been a very, very informative session? Has it been very informative? So I want you to say, thank you, panel. Amazing. I think it's very interesting how the responses that we've gotten from the panelists have been very well-rounded. Every aspect has been touched, because one would not really think about the health aspect. Yes, oh, people talk about it. Oh, tech bros have 3 jobs at one time and all of that, but it affects you eventually. So thank you very much to every person on this panel. It has been a very interactive, a very interesting session. And now to the interactive part of this session. If you have a question, please let me see your hands so that we know how many questions we are dealing with. Okay, I see 1 hand. Any other person? 2 hands. Any other person raising your hand, please raise it very well so that I see it clearly. So we have just 2 questions. Is that all? Okay, thank you very much. Victor, please, I'll need you to help me with moving the mics around. While we take the questions from the audience, please let the Walure team begin to prepare for the interactive session that the Walure team will have with the audience. The Walure team is going to have an interactive session with the audience so that we would get to know more about what Walure Capital does and how we came about. It's been 4 years of doing what we do here at Walure Capital. There is the Walure Hub, Walure Media, Walure Training, the Tech Training School. All of these things they're going to tell you about when they come up here. Why did Victor disappear? Okay, no, we can use one of the mics on stage. So you just help me pass it around. Thank you very much. Help me pass it around to the people who have questions. So I think the first question is right in front here.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. The panel.
Sorry to interrupt you. Please tell us your name, then your question. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Chidi Igwe Omoke. I'm a tech, a front-end developer, actually. I want to appreciate the panelists. You guys have been very awesome, and a lot of expose and all that in whatever you guys have said and all. But I have some questions for you guys. I don't know, is it okay if I take 3, if I ask them 3 questions? Ahead. Okay. The first question is, okay, let me start with talking about the venture capitalists. How can we adopt venture capital, I call it capitalism, as a culture in Nigeria? Because for me, I've kind of been in that space as someone looking for investors, looking for venture capitalists. Somehow, I think well, of course, they say you should try something today. I think you mentioned something like that. You must try something today. Even if you fail, keep trying. So I think I've kind of, I've launched about 3 products. At some point, I worked with some of these, I think that was where I started initially, some of these co-creation hubs and all that. That was Idea Hub in Yaba. So, but getting people to invest or to believe, even if you are talking about believing in the person, you understand, believing in the person that, okay, possibly he's promising and he can achieve something tomorrow and all that, not even first about the product. Then now you look at the product, most people, I feel that the kind of people that are playing in that space as venture capitalists, they are always looking at how much is this guy going to give me? How much am I going to make from this? But I saw something quite different outside the country. Like, I've gone for conferences, like, let's say, while I was doing my master's, I went for conferences where just by being interested in tech, by sharing your idea. In fact, there was a day, I think we were having something in our school, right? So I kind of shared an idea I had, which my interest was to come back to Nigeria and do that. That was then. So as I shared that idea, the next thing was that the guy was like, they're going to give me £1,000 to start something. They don't know anything about me. I just came for a conference. Do you understand? I shared that idea. Someone just said, okay, they're going to give me that if I'm okay with it and all that, they will give me £1,000. I was like, initially I was like, are you sure this is not, are you sure this is a grant? Or are you sure this is not tied to something? You know, that kind of stuff. The Nigerian man in me. But I think we should start looking at all that. And how can we improve that space and make it a culture? Not where, even if it's like government coming in, I don't know whether it's a policy thing, you know, or a kind of regulatory framework that has to be put up or something like that. You know, I think maybe you guys can shed more light on that. Okay, let me equally add to that particular question. The Indians, how were they, the first, how were the Indians able to create a tech revolution, and how can we adopt that? Okay. Then my second question is, during the cash crunch, you see, I was always angry during that period. I was okay with the influx of a new currency in the economy, right? Because, you know, CBN gave us a reason why they wanted to do that. And one of the main reasons was because there was a lot of money in the economy and all that. And of course, they can't find it in the banks, which was a legit, which of course we should be talking about inflation already. You understand? So now, but the problem I had was because for me, I don't like going to the banks to queue and to collect my money and all that. I prefer all the transfer, all the medium, all the channels of payments. Now, trying to use most of the channels of payments, POS and the likes, it was a problem. So could I say that, you know, someone mentioned here that we think that banks don't disrupt. I think I started my stuff from the bank, actually. I feel that banks rarely disrupt. Maybe they can take it as a cue here, right? But I feel that they rarely disrupt. What they do is that maybe possibly they adopt from these smaller guys. Maybe when we talk about disruption in banks, we should be talking about service, what do you call it? Someone should help me.
Service improvement.
Service improvement, thank you. We should be talking about service. In fact, that's enough disruption we want. Service improvement. In fact, I have not seen where I had to step into my bank or had to use any of my bank channels in UK and I had any issue. Do you understand? As in having to make payments, either my internet banking application is not working at some point, it could be a critical point. You understand? You know, so why during that period, in fact, what we were saying was that number one, there was a tech talent gap. A lot of developers have jackpot. I think I had a lot of them as friends. They had jackpot.
Is that related to this second
question?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the question?
I said
for this second
most
one?
of us were saying that could have been the reason for the issues we had during the cash crunch, where we couldn't use several channels of payment. Because of course, why people felt it was because the channels of payments were not working. You understand? And we could not even access the cash. Do you understand? So for those that were willing to use the channels of payment, they couldn't access it. So we felt maybe could it be what do you call it, tech gap? Maybe people have traveled out, or could it be the infrastructure you have? Your server infrastructure, maybe you're still working on maybe an application of 1.0, you understand? And you don't want to change it because it takes a lot to change it, you understand? Okay. Because of bugs and all that, you could start crediting people 1 million instead of 10,000 naira. Do you understand? So that's the second one. Please, you guys help me.
Can you frame that second question in one sentence?
In one sentence. Okay, please. Can you guys tell us how the banking industry can disrupt when it comes to service improvements?
Okay.
Then my last question. Okay, my last question goes to you, the second speaker from my right. Can you shed more light on why you think the human mind is the future? I felt human mind has always been there. Do you understand? And advent of computer and the computer age, and all the rest. I felt the human mind was then the future. Then, or the present then. But when all these things came up, the human mind was to propel some of these things to be the future. So please, can you convince me that the human mind is the future, please? Thank you.
Okay, so just to recap, the 3 questions. The first one is, how can we improve the VC culture in Nigeria so that startups and ideas get funding? Number 2, how can banks improve and innovate in terms of services? And number 3, what do you mean the human mind is the future? Okay, we want to start from question 3.
Okay, so I'll start with question 3 around artificial intelligence, right? And honestly, you don't have my words to the bank, and this is the hill I can die on. Artificial intelligence is a product of the human mind. So all of the innovations you see today is a product of the human mind. To AI, to machine learning, to whatever cutting edge technology you're talking about today, came as a result of somebody sitting down somewhere, or sort of coming up with something entirely new. So my thought is, and this is my personal theory, is to say that it will be ridiculous of us as a human race to stay on the heel of a product of our mind and not pay attention on our mind as the source itself. So for example, my name is Solomon. I'm speaking now about innovation and tech, right? Because I lead innovation at Wema Bank. I have an NGO that's about 5-year-old that is focused on boys and men. If you take me to United Nations today to talk about mental health of men, I'll give you statistics, I'll give you data, I'll give you practical example, I'll tell you stories, right? It would be so stupid of me to say the definition of Solomon is my idea about innovation, or my idea about boy child and girl child or men. Because the same mind that came up with some of the things I spoke about today is the same mind that came up with the stuff about men's mental health. The same mind tomorrow, right, can come up with a new programming language, right? So my thought is, the future is natural intelligence, right? And I personally have a problem with people who just go to ChatGPT and just pop in questions there and just write. I don't believe they are that intelligent. Because you cannot undermine the originality of your mind, the power of your own, natural creativity, being able to sit down and think about something new, being able to craft an email from the depth of your heart, right? So when people ask me at work, or when you ask about me at work, so go to Wema Bank and say, tell me something about Solomon. Before they say 3 things, they will say passion. And it is reflected in my kind of email, the kind of product I build, the kind of team I'm gathering, right? So when you want to quantify my entire being, or my personality, or my person, I don't quantify it by the virtue of what comes out of me. I quantify it as my whole being itself. So I believe that the future is the human mind. The same mind that came up with React Native, came up with .NET, can come up with -net tomorrow. The same mind that came up with Siri, that came up with iPhone X, that disrupted camera. The Apple team that came up with camera, they're about 17,000, right? That same mind that came up with the camera today can wake up tomorrow morning and say, can we reduce the iPhone camera to something tiny as the flash? So it would be wrong to say that the future of humanity is technology. The future of humanity is the human mind itself. And you see, pardon me on the final note, because I'm a believer, right? Pardon me, I believe in Jesus and all of that. Humanity is yet to unearth the depth of what can come out of us. Until Jesus comes, right, we'll keep excavating the power of what can come out of the human mind. See, the same human mind that can have a girlfriend is this, I'm telling you, it's the same human mind that will wake up and will live in floating houses, floating homes. I hope you know. The same human mind that says, if I want to travel from the UK to Nigeria, I don't have to go on water. I can fly. That same mind will say someday there will be a way you will just sit down, right? And through metaverse, you will get married to someone in Azerbaijan and you are in Lagos, Yaba, Nigeria. Do you understand? So I personally believe that the human mind is the future. In fact, the human mind was the past, the human mind is today, the human mind is the future. And our responsibility is to be able to press out the juice in our minds and be able to squeeze it. And I'm going to finalize on this to say that, just as my brother said, when I hire a developer, I'm not hiring someone who can code. That's the truth. You can go and copy and someone that can look at the problem, right? And if we don't pay attention to these things, what we will then get are just glossy products without any kind of deep thinking. And just as you have said, why are VCs not investing in products? People just come up with products and say, I'm building piggy vests for farmers. What the freaking hell are you talking about? There's piggy vests today, these young guys, millennials, to take their monies from bank. And they innovated around Colo. It's the same thing. They know it's nothing new. But it's the human mind. But people are no longer thinking. All they are thinking is about, can I write 3 lines of codes and change the UI UX and come and present to a venture capitalist to say, come and invest 100K in my... I think my charge to us is, the future is natural intelligence, the future is the human mind, until all of us can galvanize ourselves and say, what is the best we can get out of our minds? Whether you go to the UK or you go to Singapore, your mind is your mind. You will not get better than your mind. You can relocate to anywhere in the world. Go and work in Google in Washington, D.C. Or you work in Silicon Valley in Yaba here, whatever it is where you're working, it will not, whatever you would get, will not exceed what's in your head, right? I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that...
Thank you very much. You have definitely shown us your passion. You can join everybody that works at Wema.
Sorry, sis, can I quickly talk about the banking thing? Again, I agree with you, right? I'm not sure if you used Alert during the cash crunch. Who uses Alert account here? Alert had a fairly stable